Hello again. Sorry I'm late. Alright, I want to cover something. I'm trying to cover everything I can think of that I have learned about knife throwing in 50 years of throwing knives. That was my goal with this video course, was to share everything I could think of. So I want to talk about some internal and external factors that will influence your knife throwing, like any other precision sport, really. And I wrote them down, so I want to make sure I don't forget any of them. Yeah, I sat down and wrote all these out. Things that, I'll just say, like, I have some days where I throw really good, and some days I start out a little rusty. I have to kind of work into it until I'm throwing good, you know. Some days are different, and that's the way it is with just about everything in life, isn't it? So things that will affect your knife throwing, internal and external things. The amount of sleep that you've had, definitely. Every athlete knows that the less sleep you get, your performance decreases. I'd put up some fancy charts for that, but I don't think I need to. I think you know this. So getting a good night's sleep definitely will help your concentration, your motor skills as well. Your physical conditioning. I'm old, getting older. If I sit around, if I'm out of shape, I've got an injury to my shoulder, all kinds of things, physical conditioning, overweight, what have you. That's obviously, knife throwing is an athletic sport. A precision one. So physical conditioning will impact that. Existing injuries. I've got a bad shoulder. Fortunately, it's not my throwing arm, or I wouldn't be throwing knives anymore. I had an injury to my shoulder. But if you've got injuries to your shoulders, like let's say it was my right shoulder that's injured, and I could pretty much forget throwing knives anymore. But my left arm's good. Maybe I'll try to learn how to throw with my other arm. If both of your arms are injured, get a gun. I don't know. Things to consider. Intoxicants. I've covered that in safety. If you're loaded on whatever, booze or anything else, just leave the knives alone. Don't even think about it. And if you got people around you that are partying, even if you're not partying, leave the knives alone. Don't bring them out. It's a guy thing. All guys are going to want to show that they can throw a knife too, and they can't. And even if they can, they'll probably screw it up because they're loaded. So intoxicants obviously is going to have an impact. Stress. For me, that is a factor. If I'm having a stressed out day, it's got to be really, that's the thing I like about knife throwing. Everything has to come together. Vision, your mind, your motor skills, your estimation of range and the center balance and characteristics of the knife you're throwing, your target. Everything has to come together for precision knife throwing, and to me that's the appeal of it. But if I'm stressed out, well, my woman's giving me a hard time, or work, or who knows, maybe I've got some medical test I'm worried about, anything, money, you name it, whatever stress can stress you out. You know, that's part of being on this rock. You know, it's a stressful place. Hopefully knife throwing can help you relax. But if you're stressed out, that's going to have an impact on your precision. Be aware of it. So if you're having a bad day throwing, kind of find your peace place. Somehow mentally find your peace out, you know, whatever. Try to relax, do a little meditation, whatever it takes. Poor eyesight. Yeah, that'll have an effect on it, won't it? You know, my eyes aren't what they used to be. When I was in the Army, I was the best shot in our battalion. In the 82nd, I was captain of the rifle team, the 82nd Rifle Team for 2 years. And they made me a sniper too, just because I was such a good shot. That's not the case anymore with my eyesight. Forget it. I can see good enough to throw a knife though, but I don't think I could shoot like I used to with open iron sights. No way. That happens. What else did I come up with? Being in pain or illness, you got a ripping toothache. Obviously that's going to distract you. Or you're sick to your stomach or whatever it might be, you know. It's just another challenge, you know, to try to overcome. You know, I'm going to try to do precision throwing, even though I got a really bad toothache. That's kind of dominating my cognitive, you know. Dehydration, that's a big one for me. I let myself get dehydrated too much, and you know, it affects your ability to concentrate and kind of your cognizant. It affects your mind, your ability to concentrate, which is really important for this, and just your speed at putting things together slows you down. If you've ever been dehydrated, you know what I'm talking about. Inability to clear your mind and focus because of life's ongoing issues or problem. I guess that goes with stress. But you go out to throw when you practice. Try to clear your mind. It's just you and the target, the knife. And we're going to work on the precision, which will make this even more of a challenging sport. After we're done with the range, just learning how to stick the knife, then we're going to talk about precision. Another thing that'll come into play on your knife throwing to greater or lesser extent, and that's getting older. I definitely can't throw like I did when I was younger. I know that for a fact. Those are internal factors within yourself that can affect your ability to throw well. Some external factors. Excessive restrictive clothing. You know, I know for a fact throwing with a heavy jacket on is definitely going to affect the way you throw. You know, ideally you want to have, you know, less restrictive clothing on as possible. You know, that's kind of self-explanatory, but it's something to be aware of. If you throw with a jacket on, it's going to affect how you throw. Be aware of it. So if you got to throw during cold weather, practice with that jacket so at least you know how to modify your throwing technique. Be aware of that. Excessive clothing will affect your throwing.
The Naked Knife Thrower.
Distracting people or machinery around you. It's a concentration thing, right? Stressful environment. Maybe you're getting shot at, you're in combat. Maybe you're a cop, I don't know. Hopefully you're one of the good guys. But if you're in a stressful environment, somebody's yelling at you. I don't know how many different scenarios, dogs barking at you. Stressful environment, stress. All right, here's one. Lighting. Darkness will definitely, you know, the lighting, like I found out when I go into targets, I'm going to talk, hopefully I'll remember to talk about, I set my target up, the range for this course, behind, it's in the woods, and behind it's a field, an open cow field. And it's always backlit behind my target. It's lit up with sunlight, but the target and where I'm at is really very shady. And I found that really affects my depth perception. And anybody that's been into precision shooting, sniper or just competition shooting or just out back seeing how good of a shot you can be out in the woods or whatever you do, you know that lighting can affect your perception of you and the target, distance namely. And it can affect your throwing as well, definitely. Extreme heat or cold. I've never had a problem with the heat so much. It's been pretty hot while I've been making these videos. But I can tell you, I tried to make these videos last winter and I just hung it up. It was just, I had to wear a heavy coat, and it was cold out, and pretty cold. It gets very cold here where I live in upstate New York. And I just said, forget it. Do this thing in the summer, next summer, when it warms up. Well, I got deer flies around me now, but they don't bother me that much. That could be a factor. You have bugs, mosquitoes buzzing all around you. You know, bees. But extreme heat or cold can affect your throwing. I found that I can actually throw a knife pretty good with winter gloves on, for whatever it's worth. But the heavy winter coat did affect my ability to throw well. All I had to do was practice, and I adjusted, and I wound up hitting every time I was throwing at. But I had to do some throws first to adjust to having this really heavy parka on. Kind of crazy, but external other people, I already pointed that out. I think that's about all I came up with. Things to be aware of when you're throwing knives for precision, safely throwing knives. Things to be aware of. And I'll list all these things again after I finish this video. Just things to be aware of. All right, class dismissed.